Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel here. Lucas Johnson back with this MLB Show 22 Custom League. And today in this episode here, we are going to be kind of going over stats here for year two. Now, I just kind of ignore that I am in the off season here. I recorded this when the season was over, but the videos were really long and just not going to be worth your time. Like you guys were just not going to want to sit through the length that those videos were, and so I'm going to try and re-record these and go through these stats a little bit quicker here. That does mean, unfortunately, that there's no like team rankings, and some of those stats are those stats are cleared, so I won't be able to show you that, but I'll be able to show you the awards and everything like that, and we'll be able to kind of talk about a little bit about what could be happening with these teams in the off season. Of course, I'm not going to be revealing anything about what happened in the playoffs, but we will be going through the stats here today, and we also have some new jerseys that I will show you here and some rebranded teams a little bit here. No team logo has changed or anything, but just some team jerseys have changed a little bit, and I've updated some of these. So we're going to go through that as well. We're going to start with the Atlanta Crusaders here in the National League, and their home jerseys the exact same, but I did notice that their sorry did notice that their away uniforms were pretty similar, pretty much almost the exact same as their home jerseys were, all gray. And so I wanted to change that a little bit. So this is the new uniform here. This is the new away uniform for the Atlanta Crusaders, who are 79 and 80 for 83 this season. But you see the hat here. We got a gray front to the hat, a blue bill, and the main color of this hat is that blue. And then this is what this jersey looks like. So I really like it here. I think this is a lot better, incorporating more of that blue. Just there was too much gray going on in both the home and the away jerseys for this team, and so wanted to use this really nice blue color that they have in these uniforms. So they have just that Atlanta going down the front. They have a two-color piping and white buttons there, and then a stripe down their shoulders there, and gray sleeves, and red lettering on the back. I really like the red lettering there that they have, and like the pants, a double two color with the white and the red there. And then this is what their helmet looks like here. Gray front to the helmet, but two color with the blue in the back. And then you don't see those cleats. I do like the cleats, but they don't really wear these cleats in the actual game. But they will wear those socks, and so that's what the socks look like. I wonder actually that I might be doing this here on the fly. Actually, I like white better there. I'm not gonna lie. Okay. So yeah, I do a little bit of editing here as we are in this, but those are the batting gloves that they have, gray. Um, that's a away jacket, and then that's their catcher's gear. So just changing up their road jerseys a little bit here because it was way too similar to their home ones. Yeah, so that is what we will start out with. Get to their lineup. So they just for reference here, I have my spreadsheet pulled out in front of me so I can reference records of last year for some of these teams and everything without going into the manager screen, because that will show you what happened in the playoffs. But yeah, Atlanta, 94 wins last year, made it to the wildcard game, nearly won their division in the NL East. This season, they were below 500 and just not consistent enough offense. They were kind of lower in the league in terms of that, and in terms of especially getting on base. And Akil Baddoo, their leadoff hitter here, +7 to power versus righty. Some increases here, but he was good last year. He was getting on base. 352 on base is pretty solid there, and 22 home runs as a leadoff hitter. But this year definitely declined and definitely had a down season. His slugging dropped off a lot. I mean, he did have 36 doubles, but only a 303 on base. He struck out way more, although he did have a lot more at bats this season. But Yeah, that is, those are his numbers there. And a 239 average, a 303 on base, below 700 OPS. Only, a negative WAR. So, I mean, he's only 25. They're only paying him $3 million, but yeah, down season for him. Anthony Rendon had a good year. Probably a down year compared to last season. Played the same amount of games, basically. Very comparable numbers. I mean, have the same amount of hits, basically. Less doubles, though, less home runs, uh, less walks, and more strikeouts, but still good numbers. 342 on base for him, and a 281 batting average, and a 3.5 WAR. He's up to nearly 40 in his career there. And yeah, his you see his walk rate go down, but his K rate went up there. So that is kind of a telling stats there for him. But past 200 career home runs this season, so he had some milestones, and he's getting paid a lot of money here over the next 3 seasons. And then Mitch Haniger, first full year for him in Atlanta, and it went really well. 27 home runs, maybe, obviously not as much as last year, but all these stats are really good. 821 OPS for him. The slugging, definitely less, but more doubles, less walks, more strikeouts. But, right with his career numbers, basically, this season is what he's done in his career for the most part. And a 4.2 WAR, so actually he was a lot better defensively this year than he was last season, and that led to a big WAR increase for him. So good year for him. Extended him 3 more years still with this team. 7.4 is cheap for what his production is. And then Luke Voigt, pretty much the exact same season as last year for him. I mean, those numbers are almost identical. More RBIs, a couple less home runs, but 270 average, nearly an 800 OPS, and a 2.5 WAR. So really like Luke Voigt. I think he's kind of he's arbitration for one more season, and so next year will be a big year for him. I think they're going to keep him around at first base with this team, but kind of one of those guys that I don't really talk a lot about, but very consistent in the last couple of seasons for him. And then Javi Baez was pretty decent last year, but he actually was even better in a lot of these categories. Still doesn't really walk very much, but 270 average, over 300 on base, 777 OPS, about the same amount of home runs and RBIs, though. 22 stolen bags, so he does that really well, but he didn't do worse defensively this season. 16 errors is kind of a lot there, 1.7 WAR for him. And some increases there, but struggled against lefties, I think it looks like there. And Luke Voigt, minus 12 power decrease versus lefties. So those are some of the attributes and what they look like there. And then Eloy Jimenez, his hitting attributes went down, both his contact and his power did. And he struggled this year, only had 17 home runs. The slugging way down, and the on base is not at a good spot. Only a 290 on base and a 667 OPS. Only had 100, just over 100 hits. Barely had a, that WAR is only sitting at 0.3. His walk rate less than 7% to an 18% K rate. So I don't know. I mean, his 2022 wasn't incredibly impressive, and he does have one more year of his contract. Eloy might be a guy that they look to flip next season, or maybe even in this offseason. I'm not sure what they're going to do with him. But Tyler Stevenson had some injury issues, I think, although maybe he didn't. He played more games than he did last year, and he was not great. So his OPS was way down. His slugging kind of fell off a cliff. Only had 8 home runs, only had 38 RBIs. So Tyler Stevenson's production wasn't amazing this year. 2.3 WAR. I mean, he's not an awful catcher, and his defense is solid enough, but that's what his offense numbers look like. The Buddy Kennedy, rookie year for him, it didn't really go very well. Only batted 224, only had a 281 on base percentage. His strikeouts are not crazy, but didn't really get on base very much. Didn't slug a ton. So I don't know. This is a not a great season. I wouldn't say it's an awful year though. He did develop, maybe not as much as you would want him to develop, And so we'll see what happens with his age 26 season, if they're going to let him be a starter again. We'll see what happens with the offseason for them. And then Adolis Garcia, I think they need to find somebody else here in the outfield. Adolis Garcia just can't get on base in this franchise. A 284 on base percentage, which is better than last year, but 2 straight seasons now with a below 700 OPS. And so, his defense is fantastic, but really those are backup outfield numbers for him in the offensive category. So the outfield for them right now is a point of concern. And then the bench, that guy 217 average, Aaron Hicks 31 at bats, didn't do much there. And Yu Chang, okay, didn't do a whole lot. Chas McCormick wasn't great. So the bench wasn't very good. And in terms of their farm system here, Patrick MacArthur is a guy, not high potential, but I do like what his ratings are, and maybe he gets a shot next year at some point. I don't know. They don't really have any pitching prospects here on this team at all. Arthur Geronimo did pitch a little bit, but I think he's going to be in this team's bullpen next season full time. They do have this guy. He was a draft pick from last year. I haven't adjusted the draft picks ratings yet, or their attributes yet. Actually, I need to do that. But yeah, let's see. They do have Anthony Kubek, who is a top prospect. I don't know exactly where in that top prospect ratings, but he had a good year of development this season. And again, we can't see his stats because we're in the offseason here now. But +6 to punter versus righties. His power went up. And I like where his defense is. I think his defense is pretty solid. So honestly, Anthony Kubek is probably going to get some Major League action next year. He's not going to be starting, I don't think. But he'll get some Major League. He'll get a look at the majors next season, and he can play everywhere except for first base and catcher. So he's got that position flexibility as well. And then they also have Earl Alert here. I don't know what his potential is, but he actually has pretty decent defense, and his hitting ratings aren't bad. And he went up by a pretty decent amount in the power, and he's only 21 years old. So that's another guy maybe to look forward to for Atlanta at some point in the near future. And then they're pitching here. So Jacob deGrom, by the way, is a free agent. So that's going to be an interesting situation for him because he's 35 years old, but he's still one of the top pitchers in baseball. 33 games this year, 222 innings pitched, 74 runs allowed, over 200 strikeouts again. That's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's got 6 seasons now with over 200 strikeouts, a 3 ERA, a 1.05 whip, 22 quality starts. He's got nearly 200 now in his career and 4.5 WAR this season. That brings his total WAR to 48.6 in his career. So, his home run rate went up a little bit from last season, and so did his walk rate, and his K rate went down. So, in terms of those numbers, he was slightly worse than last year. But man, he is still incredible. He's still one of the best pitchers in the league. And he is going to be one of the most sought after free agents coming up here in this cycle. And this team's budget isn't great. We might glance at that, but I don't know if they're going to have the money to really sign deGrom. It's going to be tough. They're going to be kind of hamstring with their budget this offseason. And so deGrom will probably be testing the free agent market. He's going to be a huge name in that. And then Frankie Montas was really good this year, actually. Last year had a 1.5 whip almost. But this season, improvements in every category. There are over 200 innings pitched, 181 strikeouts, a 3.06 ERA, 1.17 whip. Actually had more quality starts than deGrom did and had a complete game shutout to this season, a 3.1 WAR. So all those are great increases from last season for Frankie Montas. He pitched really well this year, but he is also a free agent. And, he's going to want, I don't know, probably around $10, $12 million. So, yeah, these are two really big pitchers coming off of really good years for Atlanta that they're going to want to try and get back. We'll have to see what their pitching rotation is going to look like going into next year. And then Huascar Ynoa was fantastic last year and was still good this season. And, had one less start there, only 31 games, but Overall, these are good numbers. Actually had, gave up less hits. I did pitch 30 less innings, actually, but a 3.84 ERA and a 1.24 whip, 18 quality starts. So slightly worse than last season, but overall still a very solid number 3 pitcher. And then Casey Mize, he still hasn't exploded like he has in real life. He still hasn't really cemented himself as one of those young superstars. I mean, these are not bad numbers, and he's your number 4 starter, so you're going to take these numbers with an ERA just above 4. But, obviously, real life, one of the best pitchers in baseball right now. In this game, he still has a little bit of ways to go to actually get there, but did go up in his attributes a lot this season, +6 to K per 9, +5 to home run per 9. Those are the increases for Husky Uwena right there. And then Patrick Corbin was excellent this season and actually had a career low in ERA. This year, first time that he's had a full season pitching below a 3 ERA in his career. 155 strikeouts, 65 runs allowed, only allowed 23 homers all year, and had 16 wins. I mean, he was in contention for Cy Young this season at different points in the year. 25 quality starts is a ton. 2.9 WAR, and that's with him really not getting a lot of strikeouts. He's not a strikeout pitcher, and he had a less than a 7K rate this year, but he still pitched absolutely fantastic. And one more year for him under contract with this team. But man, he really made the most of his innings this season, and he was kind of that sneaky guy in this rotation. So overall, this rotation was very solid this season. That was really not this team's issue. But their bullpen definitely struggled this year. I'm going to have to say, Eric Yardley, a lot of decreases for him here this season, and you can see why. I mean, he had almost 1.5 whip after being traded last year to this team and pitching really well down the stretch after that trade. He fell apart this year. I mean, 37 earned runs. That's almost 20 more than almost 30 more than he had all of last season, and basically the same amount of innings. Way more walks at 28. Only had 38 strikeouts. A near 6 ERA. I mean, a negative WAR. Just everything for him went really wrong. That walk rate is really high. The home run rate is also way high. I mean, it's, right near this level in this season in 2021 for him. So, yeah, Eric Yardley was really poor this season. And, I mean, that is disappointing to see after you trade for him right there. And then Brad Hand, okay, he was fine. I mean, the whip was actually the exact same as last year. And a lot more innings. He did give up more runs, but he did have a lot higher workload. Overall, those are not awful numbers, and he's still in a contract for a couple more years. Roger D'Amato, mentioned him earlier, but he's a prospect that I really like his attributes. +5 to walk per 9, +4 to home run per 9. He looks like he's going to be solid. Excited to see what he does in this team's bullpen in next year. And then Jimmy Nelson was not good last year with Nashville and was actually even worse this season with Atlanta. That whip, I mean, maybe not worse, but the whip is still in a terrible spot. Still walks a ton of batters, still gives up a ton of hits. 40 runs in 70 innings for him, a negative WAR again for a second straight season. I mean, that walk rate is just awful, and the home run rate jumped this year as well for him. So, yeah, he's had a couple of really poor seasons. He is under contract going forward this year, but I don't know what this team is going to do with their bullpen. They're going to have to adjust it here. They're going to have to get some guys in free agency because even Tony Kella struggled this season. 78 strikeouts and, same amount of innings, but gave up twice as many runs as he gave up last year. So, yeah, the whip is, 1.5. And, yeah, Coney Kella, not an amazing season there. That guy didn't pitch very much at all, but Edwin Diaz was good. He did blow 7 saves, which is kind of interesting. I don't know why that was so high because he only gave up 17 runs this year, and these numbers are really similar to what he did last year in terms of, walks and strikeouts are almost the exact same there, and overall had a 1 WAR. So he was fine. Edwin Diaz was good this year. +6 to K per 9, actually really good increases in those attributes. 1 more year for him under contract. So, yeah, he pitched well, but the rest of the bullpen, yeah, it struggled. It was a weak spot for this team this season. And then we go to the Stars, and I did change this team's jerseys up a little bit, at least their home ones. They now have white going down. Let's just go to what their uniforms look like. They do not look like that. Okay, sorry. There we go. So yeah, they have, single piping now, and I did change what their sleeves look like there on their home jerseys, and then on their away ones, I put red here into their logo, and that actually makes it so much better, because now you can actually see the text there, and it does not blend right into the uniform now. So a couple of smaller changes to this team's uniform, but obviously this team really missed Mike Trout this season. Only had 96 at bats, only played 26 games, and then got hit with a season-ending injury. So what do they do without him? Well, the offense struggled. I mean, Francisco Lindor, insane plus 13 power versus ratings increase. Okay, that's crazy. Plus 6 to Connor versus lefties as well. This season, actually, I want to see if I can look at his splits this season. But overall, I mean, the average dropped pretty significantly. The on base was a little bit worse. The slugging was a little bit worse. So, maybe not a crazy worse season. He had more home runs than he did last year, but he didn't get on base a ton, and I don't think he should be this team's leadoff man going forward. I mean, the WAR did go down pretty significantly there for him. I mean, he is signed on this team. He'll be on this team for the rest of this franchise. But a decent season. He did cross 200 home runs this season. But yeah, some crazy increases for him there, really, on his attributes. Still a very solid player, but probably won't be the leadoff hitter going forward for this team next year. And then J.D. Davis, this is a significant decline for him. I mean, the on base is actually better because he walked more there and struck out a lot less. But his power dropped off, below 400 slugging and a 733 OPS. So, those numbers went down a lot. His WAR went way down. So yeah, there's a look. Yeah, I mean, walk rate, K rate went way up there, which is interesting, but just didn't get on base as much and did not show the same type of power that he did last year. He has arbitration for next season. And then Kyle Schwarber, not a bad year, but his slugging also went down a lot. I mean, 517 last year to 444 this year, and it wasn't really a typical Kyle Schwarber season, honestly. Only 21 home runs for him this year, which is low for his standards. But not a bad season. Still had an over 800 OPS. Actually had the same WAR that he did last year, which is interesting there. But I would say he was worse than he was last year, just looking at those numbers. And then Paul Goldschmidt, yes, it was worse than last year, but still was the best hitter on this team, the most consistent guy on this team at 831 OPS, a 363 on base, and 280 average. I mean, his slugging, that was probably what hurt him a lot, is his slugging went down significantly there to 468 from 595 last year. But, he still played really well, still the 2.9 WAR. I'm not going to complain about these numbers. These numbers are fine. One more year under contract for him, but he is starting to decline. He is starting to kind of take in overall, and I'm not going to probably touch those attributes, at least not yet. But yeah, he's getting older. He's 36 years old now at this point, so we're kind of seeing, I think, the prime years of Paul Goldschmidt probably start to fade away. Polanco, this team really needed him. This was a great trade that they manufactured early on in the season. I don't know where this offense would be without Polanco. This was an offense that was, in the bottom 5 in the league in every offensive category, especially with the on base and the average this season. But Polanco did kind of save some of their offensive numbers. He had a fantastic season, 20 doubles, 20 home runs, 81 RBIs, and a 773 OPS, 2.3 WAR. He's just a very solid player. They did not extend him, so I think this team is going to be kind of desperate to get him back and re-sign him. And then Michael Harris, only 18 games last year, but 137 this season. and he didn't play that great. Only had 118 hits, and the slugging wasn't really there either for him. Only had 50 RBIs and 13 home runs. So, his defense was fantastic. I mean, he is a very solid defender there, but only 2 WAR. And, I mean, plus 14 to Pop Connor versus lefties. That's an insane increase there. So I think he's got a bright future. He's only 23 in this franchise. But, yeah, this is kind of a down year for him. Max Kepler, doing Max Kepler things. I mean, these numbers are almost identical to what he did last year in more playing time. He played a full season this year, really. 22 home runs, but average basically the exact same, on base basically the exact same, OPS the exact same. So these are just his numbers last year, but extended for a full season. And, he's a fine guy, but he's not really a starter. He's also a free agent. He's definitely more a backup, a guy that you will put in and a substitute. But he had to be a starter this year because of that Mike Trout injury. Royce Lewis played 22 games, had 81 at bats this year, and really struggled. I mean, only walked 3 times, only had 13 hits, only got on base 16 times total in his 22 games in the majors. So, yeah, this is, an unsuccessful kind of first stint, but he'll get playing time. He'll be a full-time starter this upcoming season for Nashville. I'm interested to see what he will do on this team, and I do like his attributes. They did go up really nicely this season. And then Manny Pena, this team's got to get a new catcher, man. I mean, Manny Pena's defense is good, but it's also declining, and his offense is just terrible. It is just, I mean, I can't even look at those numbers. Those stats are just terrible, and he's a free agent. I'm not interested in bringing him back to this team. So a catcher, they're going to be in the market for that, definitely this season going forward. Santiago Espinal, 94 games this year, and those numbers aren't anything special. Paul DeJong wasn't very good either. Victor Robles, he got a lot of playing time this year because of that injury to Mike Trout, and he struggled as well this season. So this team's bench was not very good. Philip Clark was not great either. But another guy here, I mean, they have some guys here. Leo Munoz, 19 years old. He's now a 70 overall, plus 4 increases for him. I'm excited about what he can do here going forward. Hans Krause has some potential. So does Taj Bradley. Those guys, though, less potential and a little bit older. But they just drafted Joel Hapburn, and I'm not going to adjust his attributes at all. He looks like he could be a really good closing pitcher reliever going forward for them in the future. That was a good draft pick for them. They did also draft this catcher, Eddie Corona, and I think they might have drafted him last year because he does have attribute increases there. And, yeah, I think he's still a few years away, though, which does present a problem. He's still going to have to get a catcher in free agency. But they also have Brady House, who had really good increases this year, and he looks like a beast. He's going to be a full-time starter next year, played 40 games this season, and I was really impressed. Didn't walk a lot, so that's something that he's got to work on, but 283 batting average, 7 home runs, 23 RBIs, a 764 OPS, and had a 0.4 WAR. So he showed flashes of really good play, and he's going to be a superstar, I think, in this league in the future for sure. And then, they definitely have some interesting players here in the shortstop position. They also have Gunnar Henderson, who I think his vision and discipline are still really low, so I don't know when he's going to figure into this rebuild at all. And, yeah, that's kind of it for a prospect for them. But, yeah, Nashville, I mean, 97 wins last year, made it to the World Series, definitely a down year. Clayton Kershaw was really good, though. This is a great trade. They got him from the Pilots, and he had an awesome season at 36 years old. I mean, 58 earned runs, 57 walks under, 29 strikeouts. So he definitely does not have this, like, his strikeouts way lower, like even lower than I would have ever expected. But he's on the cusp of 3,000 strikeouts. He's going to get that next season. But yeah, below 3 ERA, 19 quality starts, at 2.6 WAR. So yeah, look at how that's a really sharp decrease there for his K-9. But Clayton Kershaw was awesome this season. One more year for him on this team, and he was a huge part of this team's really good pitching rotation. It was a top 5 pitching rotation that they had. Noah Syndergaard also had, I mean, this is like a career year for him. I mean, this is very similar to 2016, those type of numbers there, and did actually have a lower ERA this season than that season. 176 strikeouts, only 60 earned runs in over 200 innings. So not a lot of increases in the attributes. He's kind of capped out at where he is, but a 4.8 WAR, that's incredible. He actually did not have as good a WAR in 2016. He was, I guess, insane in 2016, but still 4.8 WAR, second highest of his career. So really an awesome season for Noah Syndergaard, one of the best that we've seen from him in a long time. And that was awesome to see his resurgence. 2 more years for him on this roster. And then Marco Gonzalez, fine season for him. I mean, the hits are the same as last year, actually, which is crazy to see that. But did give up more runs overall. Still doesn't really strike out a lot of hitters. Didn't increase his attributes at all. But this is a solid pitcher at your number 3 starter. And then Antonio Senzatella was fine. I mean, this is kind of what they expected it from him when they traded for him, and he put up very similar numbers to what he did last season, almost identical in a lot of these areas. So, yeah, Senzatella was perfectly serviceable there as the number 4 pitcher for them. Still 3 more years under contract. Mackenzie Gore, I had higher expectations. I had kind of higher expectations of him this season, and he gave up a lot of base runners. And I mean, 80 walks is a ton there. And overall, struggled a little bit. Didn't really pitch all that great. Only had a 2.1 WAR. And I mean, he did increase in his attributes pretty well. But this season was not what we hoped from the young core that this team is trying to develop him into a future really key starter. And Ranger Suarez was good as this team's long reliever. Nothing wrong with those numbers at all for him. Over 100 strikeouts, former 3.23 ERA. Michael Wacha was okay, was decent. 4.04 ERA, 1.46 WHIP in 62 innings. Leonardo Lopez wasn't fantastic. 1.41 WHIP. He gave up a lot of hits this season. Did increase in his attributes, but yeah, 4.7 ERA, pretty high. Noah Ramirez was perfectly fine, being very similar numbers, a little less strikeouts, but did pitch less innings overall, but really good ERA there, and exactly the same whip for him as well. So I like him, and he is a free agent, so we'll see if they can get him to come back to this roster. Gregory Soto only pitched 17 innings, and I think it's time for him to just be in this bullpen, going forward, and not have him start at AAA like I have had him start at AAA the last couple of seasons. What can he do with a full sample size? And Jordan Holloway, okay, I might actually go in and I don't know why his potential decreased. He didn't have that bad of a season there. 20 runs in 40 innings. I mean, the whip is high, yes. I mean, but I think these are fine numbers. Overall, Tyler Duffy was fantastic. Great signing for this team. And 10 runs in 39 innings, 31 holds for him, only 3 homers and 43 strikeouts. So really great numbers for Tyler Duffy, and some attribute increases there. 2 more years under contract with him. And then Trevor May had 42 saves. These are still solid numbers, 21 earned runs, but did increase his walks, did strike out a little bit less batters, and the ERA is approaching 4. So, yeah, I mean, this is, not, obviously not as good of a season as last year. His walk rate increased by a pretty big margin there. And with 2 more years for him, I mean, he did decrease a little bit. I would be open definitely to having Tyler Duffy take over as this team's closer going into next season, and May being the setup man. We'll just have to see, though. But overall, this bullpen was fine. It was really not that bad, and the starting pitching was fantastic. So we go now to the Pilots, and yeah, this team was bad, and they were even worse than last year. I think they had the most losses in the National League. So we'll go through them quickly. Framber Valdez, 3.42 ERA. Like, these are fine numbers, but he's really not a true ace. And in my opinion, like, he wouldn't be an ace on a lot of other teams. But he's 30 years old. I do think that it's very possible that the Pilots will trade him in this offseason with 2 years of team control. So I think that's a very distinct possibility. I can definitely see that happening for them. Nestor Cortez was absolutely awful this season. 190 hits that he gave up this year. An ERA over 6. Gave up over 100 runs. I mean, after that season, how does he do that poorly? I don't understand how this season was that awful. I mean, look at his walk rate and his home run rate. Like, those are bad. His home run rate was not good last year either. But, man, this is just terrible season for Nestor Cortez. And hopefully he can just wipe it away from his memory and go back to pitching at a even, starting caliber next season. We'll see. But Austin Gomber, below 3 ERA or 4 ERA, those are fine numbers for him. He has a couple more years of arbitration. I also think that I'll be open to trading him as well on this team because he's a pretty serviceable number 3, number 4 starter. And Nicolas Martinez, pretty solid number 4 starting pitcher for this team. Not as good as last year, maybe, but he also has only 2 more years of team control left. So honestly, pretty much everybody in this starting rotation is a guy that I think that this team could trade in and would have some value, and they would be able to get some prospects back from trading some of these guys. So definitely going to see probably 1, maybe 2 of these starting pitchers traded in the offseason for the Pilots as they look to continue their rebuild. Paul Stevenson, got him into that trade with the Stars for Clayton Kershaw, and I like what he did this season. This is not like numbers that'll blow you away or anything, but he pitched pretty well. 19 quality starts, 2 WAR. These are okay numbers, and he did increase by a good margin. He's still so young at only 21 years old, so he's got some potential. I like what I saw from him. Cole Winn, kind of the same thing here. I don't hate what I saw from him this season. He might be a starter in this rotation next year. 70 earned runs, and the walks is probably really high there for him, and that is something that he struggled with. The walk rate is definitely high for him, and his walk rate is his lowest rating, so that makes sense. But I don't think he pitched super poorly, and he's only 24 years old, so he's one of those young pitchers that this team is looking to develop. Tyler Wells, 34 runs, 64 innings. Not great numbers there. Jose Alvarado was good. I wish they would have given him more innings this year because he did walk a lot of guys, though. That is kind of the issue with him, but doesn't give up a lot of home runs. Didn't give up a lot of runs this season overall. And good attribute increases there. RJ Dabovich, they got him from St. Louis this season, and his year was not all that fantastic, over 5 ERA and 1.44 whip. But he still has some potential, good attribute increases. We'll see what he does on this team for a full season next year. Kobe Allard was awesome, though. 12 runs in 45 innings, only allowed 3 homers all year, 36 strikeouts. So he was really good last year, but he was actually even better this season. He lowered his K rate, increased his strikeout rate, lowered his home run per 9 as well. And so arbitration for 2 more years. I like what I see from Kobe Allard. He's kind of, increased his potential, really good attribute increases. So Kobe Allard was really good this year. Then Luis Cessa was one of the best relievers in all of baseball. Seriously, would have considered him for reliever of the year. 55 innings, 10 earned runs. That's it. 47 strikeouts, a whip under 1, and a 1.62 ERA, 18 saves, and 4 blown, and had almost a 1 WAR. The home run per 9 really low. So yeah, Luis Cessa was fantastic this year. +9 to his WAR per 9, +6 to K per 9. And arbitration for 1 more season. I think Luis Cessa could be a definite trade candidate, going into next year for this team. They could get some value from him as he, increases potential. So a couple of guys that are actually pretty good in this bullpen. I don't think this bullpen is really that bad. But yeah, this team's offense was not very good. They took out so many of the guys in this starting lineup, okay? But Adam Frazier was not great. Honestly, he was just very average, a little bit below average offensively. Jacob Nottingham was probably their best hitter overall this season, 16 home runs, a 280 average. He probably led the team in that category, I would think, and a 778 OPS and 4.7 WAR, really good. He was good defensively this season for sure for this team. So that's a great WAR there. 4.7 is higher than I would have expected, but yeah, his contact ratings increased pretty dramatically there, plus 8 to his vision as well. So 20 years old, 3 more years of arbitration. I think he's going to be this team's catcher for a couple more seasons at least, and we'll see. We could get value from him later on down the road. Luis Robert is the centerpiece of this team, and he had another really solid season, another season of over 800 OPS there. Did walk a little bit less, did get on base a little bit less, overall had less hits, but more home runs, less doubles, and a 5.4 WAR, which is a decrease from last year, but still 5 WAR is really good. And 26 years old, 2 more years under team control, and that's going to be interesting to see, do they extend him in 2025? It'll just depend on what this team looks like. If this team is still, be building, maybe you don't extend him, but if this team is maybe coming up and some of these guys that they're trying to develop are in the majors and they want Robert to be, the centerpiece superstar, they will probably try and extend him. So that'll be interesting to see what happens with that a couple of years in the future. And then Manny Margot, some attribute development here for him. He was, very average to below average this season. 2 years of him under contract. And then the only other guy that they kept in this starting rotation is in the lineup is Jordan Lawlar. And this is another season where he just did not perform well at all. He just doesn't get on base. And I think what I'm going to have is I'm going to have Jordan Lawlar start next season at AAA and get him some more development, get his attributes up a little bit more, and get him ready to come back in the majors next year because this is just 2 seasons in a row where he just has really struggled and the attributes did not really increase like the way that I want them to. So that's what I'll probably do there. And Ross Aldolf was okay. He's actually pretty impressive, but he's only a C potential guy. And so I don't know how much more he's going to really develop. Same thing with Toby Welk, who was not very good in 95 games. I mean, you look at this bench, and almost everybody on this bench played at least some significant playing time. Trevor Larnach was just absolutely awful this season in 102 games. Sammy Siani didn't play at all, but he's a guy maybe could develop in the future. I don't know if he's going to get an opportunity to play next year or not. CJ Abrams was not very good in 73 games either. I think he's going to be a starter on this lineup next season, and we'll see what he can do. But yeah, he needs to play a lot better going forward. And you look at this team and the farm system, what do they have to look forward to? They got Matthew Thompson, pitched 81 innings this year, didn't really pitch very well. They have that guy who they just drafted. They don't really have a lot of pitching prospects on this team now that I look at it, honestly. But, they have Tyler Soderstrom, who is very close to being called up, I think. Maybe we'll get some playing time this season, but I think by the start of next year, he's going to be a starter on this roster. And they have Willie Rosado, who really developed this season, really got some good attribute increases, and he's only 20 years old, but his hitting stats are really good. I think he's going to get AAA playing time this year and maybe some major league action if he does well enough at the AAA level. But I like where he's at in terms of his prospect ratings and everything. They have Trey Sweeney as well, who played 69 games and just really struggled. Yeah, he was below 600 OPS, really poor there. So, yeah, I mean, he's not going to get playing time in the majors, at least not initially. at the start of next season. Brandon Marsh was also really bad, but I think he's going to be a starter on this roster come next year in the outfield. And then they have Jay Allen, who will probably get some at bats, might be a starter in this outfield next year. I'm not sure, but he has okay potential. I don't actually know what it is there with B potential, but it's okay. Deshaun Knowles, another guy with okay hitting attributes. I don't know, maybe gets a shot. But yeah, I mean, this team still definitely in rebuilding mode, and you can tell right now. And then we go to Columbus Cardinals. This team improved a lot. They flipped their record from 77 and 85 to 85 and 77. And part of that was a really good pitching staff here. Nathan Eovaldi was fantastic and not an awesome signing from Boston. And yeah, 3.06 ERA, 1.12 whip. Those are incredible numbers, and basically the same amount of innings. He gave up only 2 more hits, but 11 less runs there, or maybe not 6. I don't actually know how much less runs that is. Can't really do quick math. That's 16 less runs, I think there. Less home runs and a little bit less strikeouts. But yeah, just lowered the ERA a lot. 20 quality starts, a 3.9 WAR, which is an increase from last year. And yeah, that home run rate went down to less than 1 per 9 innings. So really great, awesome season for Eovaldi and some attribute increases, but definitely a big part of this team's resurgence. And here's Hunter Greene, and we'll reveal the awards, but I do have him in my spreadsheet as the Cy Young winner. This season was unbelievable for him. He just took me by complete surprise. I knew that he had potential to do really well, and I thought he was going to do well this season, but didn't think he was going to put up over 200 strikeouts and only 59 runs across 203 innings pitched this year, 16 wins, 2.61 ERA, 24 quality starts, including a complete game shutout this year, and a 4.6 WAR. So, yeah, I mean, look at that home run rate. 0.66 is insanely low. So, Hunter Greene was just really unreal this season. He just had such a good year. Only 15 home runs and 203 innings is ridiculous. And they're paying him the minimum right now. They're paying him absolutely nothing for that production, but home run per 9 went up by 9. That's an insane increase. Hit per 9 went up by 8. I mean, Hunter Greene, watch out, man. He should be a beast for years to come in this league and in this franchise. And then Alek Manoah, higher ERA than last year, pitched less innings, gave up more runs, and gave up more home runs, actually, too. But he's fine as a number 3 starting pitcher. No, 19 quality starts. Still had a near 2 WAR. So yeah, the home run rate went up, and that's kind of maybe a concern for you. But he's a 93 overall. He is solid, and I think his best years probably are still ahead of him. He's only 26. And then Yusei Kikuchi was very solid as a number 4 starting pitcher on this team. 84 runs over 200 innings, so way, way better than last year for him. And 1 more year of team control. I like where he was at this season. This is a fine season. Only 6 quality starts, which is actually really low and actually less than he had last season, which is interesting. I guess I guess they took him out in his starts kind of early and often. But yeah, he was good. And then Matt DeBoer, we highlighted him a few times this season, but unbelievable numbers at the minors and AAA all year. And then he came up in the majors and he pitched 5 games, 33 innings, and he only gave up 8 runs, and he only gave up 5 walks, 20 strikeouts. I mean, those numbers are awesome. And across his first 46 major league innings, he has only given up 9 runs. So super high Matt DeBoer, 4 quality starts in his 5 starts in the majors, and 25 years old, amazing attribute increases, and a potential increase as well for him. So yeah, Matt DeBoer, definitely a guy to watch out for going into next season. I think he's still actually going to be a rookie because he did not have the 50 innings that you need to not be considered a rookie. So he could win Rookie of the Year, I think, next season. And he has really good attributes. I really like Matt DeBoer. Alex Wood was not very good. He's a free agent. They don't need to bring him back. Ryan Brazier was unreal. 40.1 innings. He gave up 8 runs and 40 strikeouts. I mean, those are insane numbers. Below 1 whip for him this year, and a 0.8 WAR. So, the home run per nine, 0.67. He gave up just didn't give up any home runs. He only gave up 3 all year. He is a free agent, though, so definitely want to get him to come back because he had a career year this season. He was unreal. And Tyler Anderson, 18 innings, less sample size for him, but pitched pretty well, actually. And Justin Verlander, not good numbers. He's a free agent. I don't know, man. Maybe somebody signs him. I don't know. He just hasn't had a good season in the last couple of years. Lucas Lucky was awesome, though. 41.1 innings and 9 runs allowed. 1.96 ERA, 1.04 whip. Fantastic numbers there for him. He is 37 years old, so he is declining a little bit. And he is on arbitration, but we like what he did this season way better than last year. Drew Pomeranz was fantastic. More innings, gave up lots of runs, had 50 saves this year, in contention for that Reliever of the Year award this season. But yeah, those are really good numbers for Drew Pomeranz. Is kind of starting to tank it overall a little bit, so we got to watch that. He is also a free agent, so also got to watch that. And then we'll back up to Alex Wood. So, yeah, I really like this bullpen. This bullpen had some standouts in it and was overall very solid for this team. You go to the lineup, and Brooks Snell, like what I see from him, man, 64 games, and he had a 273 average, had a 352 on base, and even had a couple of home runs. So, we know what he does. He gets on base, and he was able to do that pretty well in his time. I think I want to see him starting a full season next year. And Matt Duffy had some clutch hits this year and overall played really well. 345 on base. He doesn't really strike out very much. And had 15 stolen bases as well. That's really good. So, his power isn't like anything crazy or anything. He's not, his defense is really solid. I mean, he's just overall a very solid player. There's really nothing that you can complain about with his game. But 1 year of team control. Does he start next season? Probably, but we'll have to see. And then Trey Turner, 46 doubles, 13 triples. I mean, awesome numbers. The on base is about the same. The average is a little bit lower, but he walked a lot more there, you see. So, yeah, these are great numbers for Trey Turner. He's still one of the best guys in the game, still a superstar, 6.4 WAR. They needed him to make the playoffs 100% for sure. 26 stolen bases as well for him. He's going to be, maybe not next year with getting to 300, but yeah, he's working his way up with some career milestones. And yeah, 3-4 more years there, I think, in contract. Yeah, he's signed on this team for a while. So really good numbers for Trey Turner. He does decrease a little bit. His power goes down a little bit there. And Randy Arozarena, better than last year in every category. More home runs, more hits. More games played, but still, these are good numbers for Randy, and a 4.5 WAR. Certainly take that. But I think one of the things that this team was missing was power. 23 for Arozarena. He led the team, but Trey Turner only had 15. And as you'll see down in the lineup, there are not a lot of guys hit a lot of home runs on this roster. Garrett Mitchell, loved his increases this year. Look at those increases. Fantastic there. And he was really good. In 23 games this season, called up in the September call-up period, and he had 25 hits and 86 at-bats, 2 home runs, 9 walks, only 13 strikeouts at 365 on base. So really intrigued by Garrett Mitchell. I'm really excited to see what he can do over a full season for this Columbus Cardinals team. And then Gleyber Torres was overall pretty good. 319 average to 706 OPS. Maybe just pretty average overall offensively, and this defense isn't amazing. So I don't know. They could maybe look to improve on Gleyber Torres going into next season, but he wasn't bad. He was very serviceable. And then Corbin Carroll was good. His slugging, he just crushes doubles and triples. 42 doubles, 12 triples. Those are both insane numbers there, but doesn't hit a lot of home runs, and overall doesn't really get on base a crazy amount there. But his defense is good, 3.4 WAR, and he is also just continuing to improve and get better at improving his attributes. So I like Corbin Carroll. I think he can definitely improve in some areas, but overall a good season for him, and they're still paying him dirt cheap right now. Yuli Gurriel got tanked in overall this season, and he started the season out so well that, you knew he kind of had to come back to earth, and he did, certainly. I mean, these are very similar numbers actually to what he did last year, but overall was okay, not bad. I mean, I don't know what you expected from him when you signed him in the offseason. And so, yeah, that's kind of what you expected from Yuli this season. And he did walk a lot more, which is a good sign. But he's a free agent. I don't think he's going to be signed to be started anywhere. Maybe on a bad team, looking to rebuild and just needing to fill a spot, but probably going to be a backup going forward until he retires, which will be pretty soon, I think. And then Shea Langoliers, he started off pretty poorly. He played like a month or so, and he did pick it up a little bit in the end of the season. But, 233 average, below 700 OPS. So those numbers for Shea Langoliers, he did have a couple of clutch moments this season, and he did have a 1.9 WAR. His defense is, that can't be questioned. He's very solid there. But really good development for him, really good attribute increases. So he's 26 years old, a little bit of an older kind of prospect guy that they're looking to develop, but we'll see what he can do next season. He was just, you look at Jacob Stallings were just so bad. We needed to find somebody else, and I think Shea Langoliers filled his spot decently well. Jonathan Davis was okay. Philip Evans was actually pretty good off the bench in 58 games. Okay, 38 OPS. Harold Ramirez didn't get a lot of playing time this year because of some of the guys that we called up, and just the outfield on this team is kind of loaded right now. And overall, he was okay. He was fine. I do think that this team could look to trade him in the offseason and get him to start somewhere else. I think that's definitely a distinct possibility. Jacob Stallings was just pretty poor there offensively. So, yeah, they look at that team, and that's what they look like. And they have some other guys here. Ryan Cusick is very close to the majors, I think, there. And Oliver Saucedo as well. This is a recent draft pick that actually looks really solid there at 66 overall. I don't think I'm going to really even improve his attributes at all there. And then they got Vega as well. Hit per 9 is still really low, and that has to improve pretty drastically, I think, before I'd be comfortable having him in the majors. But he is a prospect there that is a possibility for this team. They also have this guy. He's some potential. He can only play DH. His defense is so bad. But maybe you give him a shot because of what his offensive attributes look like. I don't know. But a guy that I'm going to have to consider whether to start him next season is Wes Kath. He had an awesome season at AAA. Really good development to his vision and discipline there. And he's a 73 overall, 21 years old. He looks pretty solid. Honestly, I think we're going to have to see what this roster looks like, but he could start for this team next year. And then they got Nolan Gorman still, +6 to discipline. I don't think he's really ready just quite yet. He's very close, but I don't think his attributes need some work there, especially against lefties. But he's just right around the corner. Then Jordan Walker. I think he's actually probably closer to the majors than Nolan Gorman is, but I like his attributes as well, and he can play third and first base. So all those guys, there's 3 for third baseman right there that are very close to the majors and have really good potential on this team. And then they also have James Chu, who is at his potential basically, but I kind of want to see him in the majors, honestly. His hitting stats are really intriguing to me. And then they have James Wood as well in the outfield here, and he is also really close, I think, to being in the majors. His defense is really good. So this team's farm system is fantastic. And, what do I do with that? James Koo even has some decent potential. What do I do with a lot of the guys here on this team that I think could be starters, coming up here in the next couple of years? I think this roster is about to get really full, and this team is going to have to make some hard decisions. They're going to have to maybe trade some of these prospects And maybe they do that to kind of get to the next level of being even better, even a better team, and maybe having a chance to even win this division next year. That, we could see them try and do that. But this division is, really tight in the NL East. Honestly, it was a very close division this year. And another team that's looking to take the next step in to the future is this team here in the Richmond Rhinos, who was the worst team last year in the majors, had almost 100 losses, and they turned that around and almost made it to the playoffs with 83 wins this season. And they didn't do it because their offense was great. Their offense was actually the thing that was really dragging them down. I mean, they were, one of the lower teams in terms of average and on base all season. That was a weak point for them. But, Nick Ahmed was okay. Those are decent numbers. He's a free agent. I think they can find somebody better in free agency. Abraham Torre was good. One of the better hitters on this team, 127 hits for him, 18 home runs, a 756 OPS, and a 3.8 WAR. So I like what he did this season, and he was fine. He is under team control for a while, actually, until 2028. And then Jorge Soler, I think this is a trade that was worth it, but it didn't really help the big issue that this team had, which was, average and on base. His on base isn't terrible because he walks a lot. 89 walks is a lot for Jorge Soler. But I'm excited to see what he can do for a full season on this roster. 32 home runs, second straight year of over 30 home runs, and 80 RBIs, 807 OPS, exactly what he had last year. So you got to know what you're expecting from him. Look at that walk rate, 13.5%, really good. He's going to strike out, and he's not going to get on base a ton for you, but he's going to hit a whole lot of home runs, and he should be their power bat going forward in the future. He does only have one more year of team control, though, so we'll see what he can do next season. And Cody Bellinger is fine. I mean, he's just very average. He just hits 20-plus home runs, 27 doubles. I mean, there's really nothing about his stat line the last couple of years convinces me that this team needs to really be concerned about re-signing him. Plus 12 to power versus lefties, that's an awesome increase. And he is good defensively. I just think that there's better outfielders out there. I think this team is going to be able to find a better outfielder. We're going to maybe be able to trade for a better outfielder in the offseason. So I'm not going to really worry about this team getting Cody Bellinger back. Honestly, you can go to, a team that's rebuilding and maybe improve on his average and on base, and then that team could trade him for some value. That'll probably be what happens with Cody Bellinger this offseason. And Gene Segura, also a free agent. He was really bad this season in 83 games, so not going to worry about bringing him back. Lemus Diaz was also pretty bad, below 300 on base. This was not a great signing really for Richmond. It didn't really work out this year. Michael Luciano is a top prospect that this team has that I do think, I don't know, maybe it kind of depends on what his spring training numbers look like, actually. I think that is going to be kind of my benchmark for whether or not he's going to actually start next season, because I definitely think that it is possible for him to do that. I think his hitting ratings are at the point where I would not be opposed to it, but also I wouldn't be opposed to him starting in the minors either. But he does have a bright future. I really like him, and I look forward to seeing what he can do. But they also have Luis Campusano, who was just not very good. His offense was really bad. And his defense is good. It's solid, plus 11 to power versus righties, but not a lot of other attribute increases there for him. So you just look at this lineup, and, Adam Duvall, plus 11 to power versus lefties, but hit home runs is about all he can do. He had only 100 hits, had a 252 on base percentage, and below 200 average. I mean, he was fine for 1 year, but I'm not going to want him to start going forward next year either. So, I really look at this lineup, and I think the only guys that I say for sure are going to be starting on this team next year right now in this starting lineup is Turo, Soler, and probably Luis Campusano. Will have him start next year as well. But, those are only three guys that I'm saying, yeah, those guys for sure will be starting next year. There is some guys in the farm system that we'll talk about. Frank Schwindel, actually, he didn't get to play at all this season because of an injury that he had in spring training that knocked him out for the entirety of the season. So Frank Schwindel, He's probably, he's going to be also one of those guys that I think will definitely play next season. He can only play first base, though. So Abraham Toro probably will slot over to play either second base or third base going into next season. Probably second base, especially if we have Marco Luciano starting next year on this team. And then Frank Schindel can either probably be the first baseman. I mean, Soler's defense is really poor. So yeah, Frank Schindel, I guess add him as a fourth guy that I definitely think will be starting next season. But, other than that, I mean, Luis McGuire actually was really good off the bench. Wow, okay, 948 OPS. Insane there. Cal Raleigh, obviously not the player that he is in real life right now in this franchise. They're going to have to maybe trade him because of what they got in the draft. We'll look at this guy in the draft here in a little bit. But, yeah, Jeremy Ironman, 37 games just was not good. So, yeah, I look at this lineup and I'm just like, there's not a lot of guys that I'm confident in saying that you're going to come back next season. But there's some guys in their farm system that we just have to talk about. And we'll look at their pitching here later. But look at this. Lance Saul, one of the best prospects I've ever seen in this game. Honestly, I just have to be honest about that. His defense is already fantastic. His contact ratings are insane. This reminds me of Wes Adams. This is like the same type of player in terms of a lot of his attributes, but actually Lance Saul is even better than Wes Adams was when he was drafted. His vision, discipline, and clutch just insane. So Lance Saul is unreal. I mean, I'm not going to start him in the majors like going into next season. He will get AAA at bats for sure, but he's going to make his appearance. He's going to make his debut next season. I mean, I almost guarantee that. And next year, he's going to be starting at catcher for this team. So Lance Saul, an unbelievable draft pick that this team got. They also have Cesar Guzman, whose offense is really solid. I think they should trade him, honestly, because he's not going to get to play on this team really going forward. But that's why I say to trade Carl Raleigh is honestly a possibility, because Lance Saul is going to be a starter on this team next year. I mean, that's just how it is. Also, Luis Campusano, I think probably not this year, but I think at the start of next year, I'm probably going to trade him just because, again, Lance Saul, we got to clear the way for him. He looks like he's going to be an absolute superstar in this league. But this team also has Bo Suarez, the number one prospect in baseball right now, I think, maybe the number two prospect behind Wes Adams right now. But he was unreal, and he just dominated double and triple A this season. Plus 10 to contact versus lefties, plus 8 to power versus righties. I mean, those are unbelievable attribute increases. So Bo Suarez is 100% for sure going to be a starter next season. And I think he's my favorite to win Rookie of the Year next year. I mean, that's how high I am on Bo Suarez. This guy looks like he's going to be a beast, and he has 90 stealing as well. So Bo Suarez can do a lot of things, and super excited to see him in the majors next year. So they have him, and those are a couple of guys there that are immediate impact makers for this team. Also at Jose Miranda. And Jose Miranda, good power increases, good discipline increases. But overall, this was not an amazing season. He had 29 doubles, only a 229 batting average, and a 283 on base. So, yeah, had an under one WAR. What does that mean for him going forward? I'm not really sure, honestly. But yeah, you got Marco Luciano there at shortstop. And let's see if they have anybody in the outfield. They have Luis Matos. Traded for Luis Matos this season. And he is really close to being in the majors. I think one more year for him in AAA, and then he will be a starter probably next year. That's what I'm thinking for him. So he's right around the corner. That guy actually has some decent ratings. I actually don't know what his potential is. It's only 81. Okay, he might get some major league action though kind of soon. His stats aren't really that bad. And then they also have Josh Naylor, who was called down, and he was starting, and he is okay. I mean, 680 OPS. I had way higher expectations of Josh Naylor in this franchise. He is just performed poorly for a couple of years in a row, and I don't really know what to do with him. I don't know if I really want him to be starting going into next year. That might be another guy that I look to trade and maybe get some value for him as well. So just a lot of possibilities with this team and what this team looks like next year, because this pitching is unreal. They have to take advantage of this. They have 3 more years with a lot of these pitchers on this roster. So the next 3 years are the years for them to push towards winning a World Series and building a World Series caliber team, because they have World Series caliber pitching right now. Walker Buehler up there for the Cy Young Award. He almost won it, really. 206 strikeouts, 69 runs. This is just unreal stuff from Walker Buehler, even better than last year. 23 quality starts, 3 complete games, 1 shutout this year, 5.3 WAR. That is actually career high in WAR for him. And, below 1 home run per 9, 8.36 K per 9. Walker Buehler, one of simply the best pitchers in baseball right now, and he had an unreal season. Lucas Giolito also had an unreal season. This is a career year for Lucas Giolito. Yeah, for sure. 2.72 ERA and 181 hits, 66 runs in 218 innings. 1.1 whip, 22 quality starts for him. 3.9 WAR, highest of his career. Lowest home run per 9 of his career. And, lowered his walk rate by a good margin there. That's really an awesome stat to see there. A really low walk per 9. But yeah, Lucas Giolito is insane. Really good attribute increases. 2 more years for him under contract with this team. And honestly, I think this team will probably look to extend him next season. And then Jose Urquidy, just when you thought you could get through those 2 guys, you have Jose Urquidy, who if he has, he had more strikeouts, he would be a lock for the Cy Young. I just think that overall the body of work from Hunter Greene is better, and the strikeouts are significant there. But, these numbers are unreal. He was unreal last season, and he was even better this season somehow. More hits allowed, but 3 less runs allowed, less home runs allowed, walked less guys, had a little bit more strikeouts, a 2.44 ERA. He now has a career 2.81 ERA, 23 quality starts, and a complete game shutout this year, 3.7 WAR. So, yeah, his K per 9 is only at 5.86, and that's kind of the reason that I didn't really think he deserved the Cy Young this year, but those are unreal numbers. 2 more years of team control for him. And you're paying only $6 million to do that. That's unreal, like the value that you're getting from Jose Urquidy right now. So those are like 3 of the best pitchers in baseball right now, and they're all on the same team. Just insane. Zach Davies, really solid number 4 pitcher for this team, 4.80 ERA, 1.34 whip. I have no issues with that. And Nate Pearson was okay. He didn't walk a lot of guys. That's definitely an issue for him. The walk rate at 4.15 needs to be lower. And did allow 27 home runs. So some of those stats are not great for him, but did develop a little bit. And as a number 5 pitcher, I'm not really going to complain too much about that. And the bullpen was really, I think, pretty solid for this team. Alec Benninger was not very good. Vincent Kim, super small sample size, so I'm not really even going to comment on his numbers, but he's got interesting potential. I think I'm interested to see what he can do with a full season. Jordan Hicks, wasn't all that great. I don't know. He's a free agent. I don't think they're going to really want to re-sign him. But Ryan Weathers was awesome, actually. Look at those attribute increases, +6, +5 across the board. A lot of those increases there, but had 23 holds, 56 innings pitched, 16 runs, only allowed 11 walks, so that is awesome there to see that. And yeah, 2.57 ERA. So he was fantastic this year, and I really loved his development this season, so really exciting stuff there. Bruzdar wasn't very good. This trade really hasn't worked out for Richmond so far. Shane Green was really good. 42 innings, 11 earned runs. So smaller sample size, and that benefited him because he pitched really, really well. He is getting tanked in overall, though, unfortunately. So we'll see what his role is next season on this team. And then you got Clay Holmes, who I put in my spreadsheet as winning the reliever of the year award with 47 saves and only 4 blown. And he just kind of came out of nowhere. Honestly, I did not expect him to be doing what he did this year. Like his last season was not awful, but it wasn't really amazing either. But this year, 11 runs in 53 innings, only allowed 2 home runs, 11 walks, 57 strikeouts, 1.5 WAR, and I mean that home run per nine is just unreal, and a +6 to his walk per nine, +4 to home run per nine this season. So Clay Holmes really shocked me in terms of just what he did this year into arbitration for next year. He's going to get a closer salary because he's going to be this team's closer going forward. So I did like this team's bullpen. I think you could improve it for sure, but this team, I'm excited to see what this team does next season. So now we move over to the NL Central and Garrett Cole. Here, this team's ace. This team did fall even from what their record was last year, which was 75 and 87. But Garrett Cole was good this season, 231 strikeouts, exactly the same strikeout total he had last year. And, he's a solid pitcher. He's a very good ace. 4 shutouts is actually a ton. That's kind of crazy. 4.6 WAR for him. This is what he's been doing really in his career. He had a good season. But just the issue with him and I want to trade him, but he still has 5 years of team control left with that contract. So that's kind of holding me back from actually making a move to trade him. But he definitely is one of the better pitchers in the league right now. Luis Garcia, back-to-back seasons of underperforming and not really pitching very well. So that's kind of unfortunate. 3 more years of team control for him. Jordan Montgomery was better than last year. It still wasn't very great, though, honestly. Asa Lacy, as a rookie, good attribute increases, but struggled. They gave up a lot of hits, gave up over 100 runs this season. So, yeah, he was not amazing. Alex Young was also just not very good. That guy only pitched 11 innings in 18 innings and sucked. Kyle Crick also sucked in 13 innings. Wow. Joe Jimenez just gave up a ton of hits, man. His ERA isn't awful, but just gave up a ton of hits. Camilo Duvall is the only guy in this bullpen that was actually competent. 19 runs in 65 innings. He was actually really good. And he's only 26 years old. Really good attribute increases, actually. So he's a very solid relief pitcher, one of the better ones in the league, I think, right now. And John Brebbia was also insane. Wow, okay. Back-to-back seasons where he's just been unreal. 29 holds, 28.2 innings, 4 runs only across 28 innings, and 43 strikeouts. So the whip is at an unbelievable spot. John Brebbia is crazy good, actually. And he is a free agent. So I think I kind of blew it here. I missed an opportunity to trade him. I probably should have done that for sure to get some value for him because I don't think he's going to be wanting to be signed with this team. He's going to be actually one of the better free agent pitching or bullpen guys out there. And then Devin Williams was fine as this team's closer. Pretty comparable. Actually, he was a lot better last year, but only maybe I guess I don't say a lot better. He only gave up 2 more runs than he did this season. He gave up 3 more home runs this year, though, but very similar numbers to last year. And overall, a very solid relief pitcher. He just doesn't really get a lot of saves because he is on a bad team. But 3 more years of contact control for him. So, this bullpen, like Brebbia, Williams, and Duvall, those guys are all really good, but everybody else kind of sucks. And then the lineup here, Alec Verdugo, good attribute increases, only 27 years old, and I like where he's at. He's a guy that free agent at the end of this season, I might be a guy that you look to extend a little bit here for a few years because I do think he is a pretty solid player overall, and his defense is really good as well. 2.3 WAR for him this season. Omar Narvaez was awesome this year. 32 doubles, 22 home runs, 83 ribbies, a 353 on base, which led the league in catchers this year, an 813 OPS, a 460 slugging. So Really good stuff from Omar Narvaez. 5.4 WAR is awesome. So yeah, highest WAR of his career. He put up a career year this season. And, awesome attribute increases, man. +6. He just crushed lefties this year, apparently, there. And 3 more years of team control. I don't think I'm going to trade him like this offseason, but we'll have to see. I think a trade is probably the best route for this team to go with him. Maybe not this season, maybe not even, at the deadline this next year, but it definitely at some point here in the next couple of seasons, I think, unless this team turns it around really quickly, Narvaez is going to be part of a trade to get prospects onto this roster. And same thing with Jesus Aguilar, who was really good. This was a signing that worked out for the Blue Sox. He walked a lot more this season, did strike out a lot more, but the on base at 350 is really good. The OPS 753. This is pretty much what you expected him to do. When you signed him, his power did drop off a little bit there. I don't really know why, because he had almost the same amount of home runs that he did last year. He had more doubles, so I don't really know why the slugging, like why his. Okay, he had 19 errors though. His defense is not very good. But I don't know why his power went down that much. But okay, whatever. 3 years of contract left for him as well. But I think it's probably more likely that I trade him in the offseason than Omar Narvaez, honestly. And then Jose Iglesias, +15 to power versus lefty is okay. I mean, nothing else really improved for him, but that is an insane improvement there. And he was okay. His on base isn't very good there, but his slugging is okay. I mean, those are fine numbers. $4 million and 1 more year of contract for him. So maybe a trade guy that you can deal if he does well again next season. I don't know. Jason Dominguez, some decent increases there to his attributes, but overall wasn't that great in 115 games this year. I mean, I didn't really want to have him play in the majors this season. And that was kind of forced upon me just because of some of the injuries that this team had. And so I don't know if I'm going to have him start in the majors next year or if I'm going to, have him play in AAA for a little bit until I feel like he's more ready to play. We'll just have to see about that. And then Kenzie Noel was all right, pretty serviceable, 741 OPS. Good increases to his attributes, but he's probably capped out at his potential right now. And then Jake Cave, 81 games was actually really good. 275 average and 826 OPS, so almost 50 RBIs as well for him. And a 2.4 WAR. That is good enough for me to want to have him start as a full-time outfielder for this team going into next year. And Connor Joe only played in 7 games before he got hit with a big season-ending injury. Sam Hilliard was really bad. Kevin Kiermaier was also really bad, bad enough to the point where I couldn't even play him on offense because he was just that poor of a hitter. They have Ryan Bliss here who didn't get to play at all, but maybe he's a guy that could feature on this team in a couple of years or so. I'm not sure. Gabriel Marcial is also another one of those guys. Low contact, vision and discipline aren't really, I don't think, ready yet. I don't know. Does he get some playing time? I mean, all these guys, all 3 of those guys are 24, 25-year-olds that have okay potential, but I just don't know if they're ready to actually make major league starts and actually play on this roster going into next season. We'll have to see how that all develops, but this team does have some interesting players on it. Adrian Del Castillo looks really solid. I think I want to have him start next year in the outfield in right. He's not going to play playing catcher, obviously, but I do like where his hitting ratings are. I think they could be improved a little bit, but he's also 24 years old and he doesn't have, haven't given him a shot at the majors, so I kind of want to do that now. And so we'll see what he can do next year on this team. And then they obviously got the guys that they drafted last year that are guys that are getting close. I think Carlos Morales still is only a 61 overall, but good increases to his attributes. I think he's only a couple of years away from the majors. Homer Santos is really close to the majors. I want to work on his defense a little bit, obviously, there, but his hitting attributes are actually good enough that he could probably play on this team next season. So I think he's going to be a September call up kind of guy, or if an injury happens to somebody on this team, Homer Santos is kind of that next guy up for them in their infield to make his debut. I think he's definitely going to make his debut next season at some point for sure.
So hey guys, this is me editing this video, and as I mentioned at the end of last video that I did, I'm gonna split this into another recording. So we will have a part 2 of the National League stat recap coming out, and that will come out very soon. That'll come out in the next couple of days. It will not take me very long to edit that. I've already edited most of it pretty much. So expect the part 2 of the stat recap for the National League in a couple of days, and then we'll get to the American League, and that'll also be the same type of thing. We'll split that into 2 videos as well. So just wanted to hop on here again to tell you that, so that this video has kind of a proper outro to it, and you're not confused that it just ends. So thank you guys so much for watching this, and I'll see you here in the next video, which will come on here in a couple of days. So hope you having a great day, and hope you all have a great week, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye bye. Have a great day, and God bless.